Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtada Khan, your host, and today I have with me the distinguished Indian soldier, scholar, and also diplomat. I have with me General Lieutenant General retired VP Singh, who has served in Kashmir, has also worked in diplomatic positions for India, is very prominent and not new to this channel. You have heard him before. So, General Saab, welcome to Conversation.
Thank you so much, Professor Saab. Thanks a lot.
Sir, uh, 2 days ago, the General Secretary of the Iranian National Security Council issued six conditions, and he said that unless America meets with these six conditions, we will never open the Strait of Hormuz. And those six conditions look as if they are demanding unconditional surrender from the United States. They want the United States and allies, which means Israel, to not attack either Lebanon or Iraq or Iran or Yemen or the Houthis and even Gaza. And they have also said that America should basically unfreeze all of Iranian assets. America should lift all sanctions. America should withdraw its forces from the region. And their first condition is to tell Trump to shut up, because they said basically their hateful language that is coming from the president of the United States should stop. So it prompted one of the former Secretary of Defenses, Esper, who served in Donald Trump's first term, to say that the Iranians are behaving as if they are winning the war. So there is a lot of discussions, and it's across the board, people are under the perception that America has lost this war with Iran, and that Iran has gained significant strategic victories in this battle. How do you see this? How is your assessment on this issue, General Saab?
Okay, so the first thing is the whole world is saying Iran has won and USA has lost. So I cannot be one odd man out to say no, USA has won and Iran has lost. That would be very ridiculous. But that's the general understanding. So people must be right in thinking that way. When you were initiating this introduction, you mentioned that, and I think I've heard you in one of your own podcast, you say these are maximalist demands.
Yes.
Those 6-point demand which have come, it's a upgrade version of the 14-point that were signed earlier.
Yes.
And I mean, you understand, like many people who are in this business, they understand that every time parties are sitting at the table or trying to meet each other, they keep upgrading their position. Iran has done that. Now, as far as USA is concerned, like you mentioned about some Secretary of State or Defense earlier one, he gave USA's position. This is all nonsense, as if you have won. I have only 2 points to add here. One, that if the whole world is saying you have won, you have won, you have won, then the timing is extremely important. If you have won, is this win going to continue, or it is going to plateau out sometime and the descent starts? When should you strike a negotiation? Because that's a fact of life, that no war will be concluded on the battlefield. It will be at the negotiation table. So perhaps Iran has to think as to which is the time when I must strike a deal. Mm-hmm. Second thing is, if you push the envelope too much, then the outcome may be very different. It becomes very difficult to assess as to what are you going to really gain out of that. So as far as this war is concerned, Iran definitely has an advantage at this stage. Americans and perhaps Israelis have realized that they have made certain mistakes. But then those thing comes like, what can they do now? You are stuck somewhere. Now, what can you do now? We can discuss maybe a little later that are there any more options, or this is where everything finishes and somebody signs on the dotted line. I don't think that this is going to happen. The demands are available with the United States. Demand are there with Iran. And they also, I mean, of course, both of them are saying there's no discussion, no talk, no negotiation. But I guess through Oman and other interaction which is going on, there's no doubt in my mind. That's why the positions are also keep changing. So that is as far as the current state of war is concerned. Some kind of negotiations are underway. Both sides are aware of their actual military positions and way forward, perhaps.
So, as I make my assessment of this war is actually not completely in alignment, even though I have made the point that Iran has won this war strategically. Just the fact that the regime has not collapsed and they have not surrendered, they have not returned the purified uranium that they have not ended their ballistics, and their support for their proxies, all the conditions that Donald Trump described that he wanted Iran to do, they have not complied. But they have taken tremendous hits. By April alone, they had $300 billion worth of infrastructure was destroyed. Between Lebanon and Iran, nearly 10,000 people have died in this war. You know, it is quite possible that more Indian citizens have died on this side than Americans in this war. America has lost less than 20 people, 18 people, and about 500 are seriously injured, but they are alive. And so for America, the human cost has been minimal, but there's some financial cost. So I think the only leverage that Iran has at the moment are these two items which are constantly in the news. One is that America is running out of ammunition. That the U.S. cannot endlessly fire ballistic missiles, which cost about $5 million each. Right? We have shot over 2,000 already, and that itself costs billions of dollars. And the other is this perception that the cost of living crisis in the United States is being exaggerated and exasperated by this closure of Hormuz, and Donald Trump is afraid that it will have a very negative impact on the midterm elections. That is what Iran has going. But if this war continues endlessly and the US keeps up the sanctions, then at some point, nothing is going to happen to the US. Economically, yes, there will be some people who will be very unhappy. We could borrow money and give a subsidy at some point if it really gets bad, like we did $2 trillion during COVID. But Iran's economy will eventually collapse under the pressure of the sanctions and the war. So time is not on Iran's side. So given all of these facts, if you had an opportunity to advise Donald Trump, what advice would you give him with this war?
Okay, so before I give Donald Trump an advice, I just have a point to make. Professor Saab, whenever the war is fought, sides, they do run out of ammunition. I'm talking even at the smaller scale. Whenever there is an engagement, at some point in time, you start falling short of ammunition. So what happens? A replacement comes. Now, as far as the planning of war is concerned, this chain or this train of replenishment has to be put in place before you fire the first shot. There are technical terms for that. So it should, obviously, if whole world is talking that America is running out of ammunition, that means this particular homework has not been done properly. Or they misjudged that this will be over in 14, 15, 20 days time, not that it is going to drag on. It happened with USA. It's happening with USA. It happened with Russia also. It dragged on. So that is one point. So they made a mistake. Second is hardship to the country. You only have just said Iran and people of Iran have suffered so much. What they have displayed that they can take a lot of pain, that does not reduce the pain. That's just a statement that I have taken a lot of pain. But there's a requirement which comes with that pain, that now I want this pain to end. It is not that because I can take so much of pain, so I want this pain to continue. From there stems the need for peace. Nobody will admit when the war is on that I want peace. That's a weaker side. But even withstanding pain and the pain which is going to follow after the war, you hinted on that. That definitely would be worrying the Iranian leadership. So it is not that everything is hunky-dory and they are going all guns blazing. No, it's not that. So this is one point. Now, coming on to the advice to this thing, see, basically, in a very, very basic level, right now, if I have to just summarize it in 3 words, it's like this: just quit and leave. If I tell Trump, okay, we have seen you made a bad decision, quit and leave. So you will get humiliation, you will do this and that and all that. But just read the history. How did they leave Vietnam? How did they leave Afghanistan? Everywhere that America got engaged, or at least most of the places where they got engaged and got in sustained fighting, they just left. So much of indignity, humiliation, and all that they did. I mean, just imagine the news. I mean, it was there all over the international media when the military aircraft of USA flying out of Kabul. Was that a superpower leaving after winning the war? So just quit and count your losses and think about what you need to do. That is the first thing, where we are right now. The second is keep doing the same thing what you have been doing and expect a different result. Every off and on you bomb Iran and then wait, okay, Iran may surrender. It's not going to happen. You keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. It's not likely to happen. That's the second thing. So I said, okay, I could have said, okay, don't worry, carry on fighting. Bring the war to a logical conclusion. Now, when I say that bring the war to a logical conclusion, it takes you to a different level. We had last episode, we have discussed about the escalation ladder and escalation trap.
Yeah.
In between also, there was a little talk about that, tactical nuclear weapon or a nuclear weapon to neutralize Iran. Is that option off the table now? So maybe Netanyahu has just visited United States of America. They came back and carrying on with the war. So maybe there is a thought going on, okay, this far and no further, and let's upgrade the war, do something which we have done historically. I am the only country which has done it in the past, bombed nuclear bomb in Japan. Would they do that? That's the second option with Trump available. Third, perhaps to my mind, whenever you get stuck, you need to pause and rethink as to what mistakes have you done. Can it be corrected now as the war is paused? And can you resume it after taking a breather? Remember that our operation against Pakistan of Sindoor, it's on pause. People talk very differently about pause, but pause is a military position. So what happens when America says, okay, it doesn't have to say anything. It doesn't have to do nothing. Just pause. And what can America do in that pause? Don't give any assurance to Iran. What is Iran looking for? Those 6 points or 14 points, they are seeking a lot of assurances from United States. International guarantees that you will not come back again to mow the lawn. Don't give any assurance. So when you pause and give no assurance, what does it do to Iran or the leadership? It keeps them in a state of uncertainty and more trouble to come. And in what form? Nobody knows. It's not a good position to be. So in that pause also, what else America can do? Say that we are redeploying our assets, military assets from GCC countries, the Middle East. When you say redeploying, it's an operational jargon.
For withdrawing.
Remove some assets from there temporarily. Yeah. So remove them. So what happens is you are actually removing the targets which Iran has been striking to make you look silly or create problem for you. Remove them for 3 months, 4 months, or whatever it is, under the garb of redeployment for the next phase. What will happen? What will this do to Iran? Again, there is a cause of concern. What happens? Where are these troops going? What will happen to them? When will they come back? It's going to build on the fear. The third thing that they can perhaps do is the agreements which are there for the basis, don't tinker with them. So anybody who reads the battle or reads the war carefully, he says troops have gone, but the agreement still remains that America has a base in, say, Saudi Arabia or Qatar or wherever it is.
Yeah.
Leave them just like that. Adds to uncertainty. So the whole pause phase, the strategy should be to cause more and more uncertainty and fear of unknown in the minds of Iranian leadership. What else can happen? When these troops are withdrawn, say temporarily, now can then Iran strike bomb GCC countries. There is no valid reason for it to do that. That may give some reprieve to these countries which are actually worried that you are destroying us and you are fighting with Iran when the targets are not there. Then one more thing, sounds very outrageous. Remove the blockade. Let United States withdraw its fleet, say 100, 200 miles away from there. As
Which
far
they had
as
done
United
before.
States concerned, yeah. So there is no blockade from United. Declare it. There is no blockade. Now the onus is with Iran. He says we will not allow any ship to go. When that happens, the world is now going to turn around. He says, now what is the reason for you not to let us use the Strait of Hormuz? Earlier you were saying because US has blocked it, so you are blocking it. Now US blockade has gone. What about you? The questions may come from some other capital. And last but not the least is that all these things when you are doing and this pause phase is underway, re-strategize. Think how else or what else should you do to come back and achieve your objectives, which are at this stage, as you mentioned, Iran has taken a lot of beating. At this stage, maybe out of 10, you have succeeded in achieving 4 or 5. The balance, you may come back again and do it. You're saying something.
So that, I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying, and there are some people here in Washington who are actually saying what you have said. And in some ways, Trump has already paused. This thing has been on pause with occasional strikes, but there's no sustained war. But I think there are 3 problems with that. One is Trump's ego. Everything is about his ego. He's not going to. He's going to say that, look, people are going to say you lost this war, and he just can't countenance that. He gets so frustrated. He's getting frustrated over court decisions here on small issues, etc. So that is one problem. It will require him to rise above his current level as a statesman to do what is in the interest of the US rather than his own ego. The second thing is that Iran's only serious asset right now is its control of the Strait of Hormuz and the punishment that it is meting out to the US economy and the rest of the world. So if the US were to, it appears that the only thing that Donald Trump really wants right now from the Iranians is open the dam, the strait, let the traffic flow, and he would be happy to end the war with the opening of the Strait of Hormuz without Iran imposing tolls, because then he looks as if he really lost the war, especially in comparison to Barack Obama's deal, because the JCPOA, the strait was open without any tolls. So I think that is probably something he would like to do. So if the Iranians agree to open the Strait of Hormuz without any tolls, Trump might agree to end this war there. But the Iranians will want to hold on to it in order to get retributions and the cost of the war that they are demanding, that there should be compensation for the damages that they have done. So they could be tempted to hold on to the Strait of Hormuz as a blackmail against the US or against the Gulf countries and saying, rebuild us, you destroyed us for no reason, and we will either collect money through the tolls or you come and pay us. And the problem for the Israelis is that this is exactly what they don't want. They think that if there is a pause, Iran will replenish itself. It will build more missiles and it will build more drones and it will continue to strengthen Hezbollah if possible, or even Houthis. So I think the pressure not to pause is very strong from the Israeli side, even though Donald Trump mentally is done with this war. And at one point he said it was boring. He was not even interested in what is going on. So the problem, I think, is that there is no pathway to a military victory without a major effort, whether it is, as you suggest, in nuclear weapons, which is at the moment quite unthinkable, even using tactical nuclear weapons. And the other is ground troops, right? Massive ground troops. Then the war will change because the body bags will start coming back. Even in Vietnam War, 60,000 Americans died. So Trump is not willing to do either of that. That will wipe out the Republican Party completely if they send ground troops into Iran and we have, God forbid, 200, 300 or even 1,000 deaths within a week or two. So Donald Trump's so there's a limit to how much he can escalate other than just bomb, instead of shooting 100 missiles, let's shoot 1,000 missiles. But the point that you make is earlier comments was very interesting, that wars don't end through military. Even when there is a surrender, it ends with at the negotiating table. And I think Donald Trump is not understanding that. He's trying to achieve at the table what he's not achieving on the battlefield. So rather than end the war through negotiations and concessions, he's thinking, can I get what I did not get through the battlefield through negotiations? I think that is a fundamental flaw in Trump's thinking.
So I have a question, Dr. You see, when you say that when USA says that I'm no more interested in this war, I'm off.
Yeah.
So how is Iran going to say that Strait of Hormuz is still not open? That's my question. If
they will say
USA
that
is moving away,
yeah,
and it is not blocking the state, the owners now rest on the shoulder of Iranians. Why
so
are
the
you
pressure,
blocking? I mean, Iranians are not expected the word to tell Trump.
yeah, so
to sign
the
on
pressure
dotted
would,
lines. He says, well, he's not fighting anymore.
so the pressure is going to come from countries like India and China, which trade heavily through this region, and the Gulf countries who are exporting stuff from that Strait of Hormuz. But I think Iran will make the point that, look, there has been so much damage done to us, which is about $300 to $500 billion. Either America pays reparations for the war damage that it has done, or we will collect the damage. The other thing that the Iranians are quite capable of saying, and I actually heard one commentator say this, we won the war, and as a victor of this war, we will now exercise sovereignty on the Strait of Hormuz, which we have won in the battlefield. Now the rest of the world will have to deal with this idea that Iran is claiming sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, and therefore it will impose tolls, as Egypt imposes tolls for boats that go through the Suez Canal. They don't treat the Suez Canal as or the Panama Canal, right? So I think the Iranian position will be that, because they realize that the only way they can win this war is to make sure that the conditions of the Strait of Hormuz are not the same as before the war. The difference is the win for Iran. And that is also a message to the rest of the world. And I think at some level, Russians and Chinese are going to back Iran on that issue. And Iran will give China exemption for the tolls and charge it on other countries and say that, look, we won this war and we won the Strait of Hormuz fair and square. Do you agree with me that that is the position?
So let's break it.
Yeah.
So let's break it. One, that you are saying that Iran will open the Strait of Hormuz, however, with conditionalities.
Yes.
And the condition is they are going to charge some toll. Now, weigh this. Suppose this war continues, then Americans keep the blockade on. The petrol is going to touch $150, $180.
Yes.
Today, it is say $80 or $75. Let Iran charge some toll. It may be $95.
Yeah, it'll be minimal.
There are two choices. One, the US is safe. Let Iran charge whatever they want to charge. It's none of our business. It is, Chinese oil or the Indian oil. Let India and China deal with. I have got nothing to do with it. And let me say, what can India and China do to me, that is USA, to force me to start giving compensation to Iran? I'm not doing that also. So now Iran says, okay, you're not giving, but I'm charging toll charge. So what happens is petrol prices may go up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the second thing, it is a pause. We have started on that presentation.
Can I clarify one thing, General?
This pause is taking place. Yeah, please.
It is possible for China to charge the tolls without the price of oil going up additionally. So, for example, if you are an oil carrying ship, right, you're not allowed to port. You can't enter any port unless you have full insurance. So even Abu Dhabi will not allow ships coming in without the. But as soon as there's uncertainty, the insurance goes up by millions of dollars. So all these ships which are out there floating around, they are paying a very high cost in insurance because of the uncertainty of the crossing of the Strait of Hormuz. But if Iran opens it under their management, that insurance money can go into the tolls without affecting the price of the oil.
Yes.
So I think the Iran could manage and say, okay, we will charge some
Fair enough.
management fees,
So,
etc. So that is the only bad thing out of that is it looks as if America lost the Strait of Hormuz. So that is where ultimately it comes back to Donald Trump accepting that our adventure in Iran has failed and there is going to be a cost because of that failure. And that the US is not yet ready to accept.
okay. Right. So I'll wear my hat when you said ki advise Donald Trump. So I'll be telling the president, you have not yet lost the war. It is continuing. You have paused the war. It's a term to be sold to the world that don't worry, I am not yet done with Iran. There will be a time which I'll finish my business. That uncertainty in the mind of Iranian leadership is going to weigh heavily, very heavily.
Yeah.
Hormuz opens up. What will be the reaction of the rest of the world? Try to bring down the prices as much as they can, and that offsetting that insurance will come down and all that, because no, that is actually there is no active hostility because one party has decided to give a pause, right? So now this pause is going to give that time for the countries to recoup, number one. Secondly, let the passage commence. Now, you would raise the question of sovereignty of Strait of Hormuz. So what happens is, certain countries around the world, they reject this. I'm talking about the Western Europe, West, or essentially America and all that. When Iran says it's my one-line statement from United States, we reject this claim, and it is not acceptable. It's a very harsh, a strong diplomatic language, which means while you have claimed Strait of Hormuz is yours, the Big Daddy is not accepting it. So what may happen then, that Big Daddy may come sometime or the other to make you change your position and ensure that Strait of Hormuz is status quo ante. Now, this may be one of the clauses. I'm talking about, say, a presumption that 6 months down the line, when actually they come back with their tons of brick and put Iran down, they say now Strait of Hormuz should be restored to its position before February or whatever it is. That's the game. Now, the issue is that when United States leaves and do what? One is, I mentioned that recoup your whatever resources and military hardware or whatever it is. Like Iran, you mentioned that Iran is going to do this, that. So USA and Israel are not going to sleep then. They will also do something, right? In the preparation for the next phase. The second thing, what may happen during this pause time, that the primaries, which is the main concern right now. So when he goes to primaries, right now, so he goes as a very defeated person. Everybody's saying you have lost, you have lost. He says, no, I have not lost. I have just given a pause. I'm re-strategizing my punishment to Iran. I'll come back. And on that I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that is all the talk that he's going to do in his speeches for primaries. There is a slim chance that he may perhaps retrieve some. Right now, so he's losing everything. So what is wrong with that?
So
just look at Iran. When he says, okay, I have won. After all, like you say, when he leaves, either he leaves now or he leaves after giving that so-called magic word pause, tactical pause or operational pause. Iran also have to sit down and decide, what have I won? Did you get any guarantee? No. Did you get any assurance that your proxies are not going to be hit? No. Did you get any sort of a repairing of your relationship with your neighborhood? You have become a pariah in the sense that entire neighborhood hates Iran today. Pacts have started coming up aimed at Iran. So Iran also, and then have you got any assurance that somebody is going to pay you for the damages that have taken place? And the most important is there any assurance that this man is going, Israel and USA is not going to come back? This actually, Dr. Saab, was Iran's most important condition to end this war. That somebody should tell me that they are not going to come back again ever to fight me.
Yes, that is.
Did they get that
one of the conditions
from anyone? No, neither from China nor from Russia or from any other.
So,
your 14-point program, when you sit down and look at that, none of the conditions.
I mean, I completely agree with you that Iran could
Yeah.
come out on the very wrong side, but there's the only problem with that is what happens in the midterm, right? Because the Democrats are not going to pursue this. The American politics has changed so much that right now Donald Trump is foreign policy is more or less dictated from
Yes.
Tel Aviv, and whatever Netanyahu wants, Trump is able to do that. Netanyahu yesterday blatantly rejected the so-called negotiated peace in Gaza, and Trump is like hasn't responded yet. Nearly 36 hours have passed. So that kind of Israel first policy, I think it'll be impossible to expect if the Democrats gain power in the House or in the Senate. There will be a lot of investigations, and Trump will not be able to have a continuity of the policy, because the pause itself is a policy. It's not it's an action. The pause that you are recommending is a strategic pause. But if the Democrats come to power, they will unpause and leave. That's what the Democrats will do, is they will unpause and leave
Yes.
and give Iran some relief. They might say, okay, let's go back to the JCPOA. So for Donald Trump, I think his window to get this thing done, I personally think that at some point he realized that he's never going to get a Nobel Prize. And so for him, the alternative path to greatness, apparently he's obsessed with trying to portray himself as the greatest president America has ever had. So he actually examined the possibility of putting his head on Mount Rushmore, and they realized if he add one more head, the mountain will collapse. So that is out of the way. He's trying to build his ballroom as to leave a permanent mark on the White House itself. He wants to build, the Gateway of India like an arch here in Washington. So he's trying desperately to leave some kind of legacy which says that I was a great president. So for him, the Iran thing became the alternative. So if I can't get a peace prize, let me be a great winner in the war. And he fell for the presentation that Netanyahu made and said, we can do this in 4 to 6 weeks. You'll have complete surrender. The Iranians will collapse. We'll establish a regime change, etc., and we will get back. So he's been trying desperately. And he keeps forgetting. You see, he forgot about Panama Canal. He's forgotten about Greenland. He's forgotten lots of other issues that he had started. So I have a feeling that if he were to pause, it's quite possible that yes, Iranians will be stuck in a limbo because they don't have assurances from the US. So yes, for Iran also a negotiated end to this war is probably more desirable than what you're suggesting. But the only flaw I see in that argument is, what if the Democrats take over? I don't think they will continue with that policy.
So let's see it like this. Today, if Donald Trump decides to leave, is he going to win his primaries because I have come back? The war is not there. I have left. No.
No,
So
because
as far as political fortunes are concerned, they are very, very. Yeah.
See, we have something called October surprise, like he could do something in October. Like, for example,
Yes.
if he decides to take Greenland, for example, or something like that, or he decides to say, okay, I will basically throw $1 trillion as a makeup for the losses that we suffered in Iran, and literally send checks like they did during COVID. If he does something like that, in India they have this word called a Revdi Bhatna, something like that if he does. But then he will be accused of being a socialist and a communist. He has made so many mistakes in this term so far that the public, even Republicans, are not enthused with his term. His approval ratings are collapsing. So he thinks that a win before November is more likely to improve his political fortunes. If he can come out and say, I said Iran will never get a nuclear weapon, and we did it. We have, at least if he can get 2 or 3 things, like he gets the enriched uranium that Iran has stored, he gets that back, and the Strait of Hormuz is open without tolls. Then at least, and he can get some assurances, which may not be real, that, okay, we will not make more ballistic missiles or something like that. He is willing to, I think, open.
Absolutely.
Iran,
So the thing is, these things, even Donald Trump.
Yeah, I think Iran should exploit Donald Trump's vulnerabilities
So these things,
and get
Dr.
deals.
No,
Yeah. like my advice to the Iranians would be to get the sanctions lifted
Absolutely right.
and get the assets unfrozen
Get a
and make a deal.
Get a deal.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Right. So the biggest achievement of Iran would be that finish this war, get some kind of a deal, and make sure that USA doesn't come back again.
Yes.
Right. The thing is, when you were talking about the elections, which is slightly different from the topic, and I'm no expert of US elections, but things can be stage managed. You just mentioned about Revdi Batna and all those things. So what happens is, to win an election, there are many things you have to do.
Yeah.
Like right now, biggest tag on USA is that it is fighting Israel's war.
Yes.
When they do this strategic pause, there is a backroom negotiation between Netanyahu and Trump, and they keep talking about it. And he admonishes or warns Iran, no more attack on this and that and all those things. And I'm going to deal with Iran in the United States' interest and not this thing, that thing, in all kind of TV headlines. Israel plays along. But between these two people, they would have decided that it is December, after the primaries and other things are over, that we are going to take a final decision on this.
Yeah.
After all,
but it's
when
quite
they have
possible
met
that
5 times, something would have come out of their joint strategy.
One of the interesting things is that October is Israeli elections.
And December.
Yeah.
Between now and December. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead,
October is Israeli elections, and Donald Trump, when Netanyahu visited last week, Donald Trump did not endorse Netanyahu. So he went back without Trump's endorsement. So he's still waiting for Trump to come out and say that Netanyahu is the best thing that Israel can have, and I endorse him. So Trump hasn't done that. He's still holding that back, and I think he might do that if Netanyahu agrees to the peace process in Gaza. So there's a bit of a complications. We could have a December where there is no Netanyahu in Israel, and Donald Trump weakened by a loss in the midterm elections. But General Saab, the ideas that you have suggested are intriguing. I think that the United States should consider this. There are a couple of people here who have also said, including John Mearsheimer has said this, Robert Pape has said this, that walk away. Walk away. You made a mistake. You realize it. Don't dig yourself in further. See, that's what happened in Vietnam, that we went on and on and on. The same thing happened in Afghanistan. There was no need to be there after bin Laden was dead. Right, so they could have simply walked away from Afghanistan. It would not have been better off or worse off than what it is right now. We would have saved maybe $1 trillion. Since Vietnam, America
walk away
has
by all means, but I am just suggesting put a tag.
Yeah.
Put a tag on walk away that I am going,
but I can come back.
I will come back.
Yeah,
and there'll be a dividends for that. I will come back.
Yes.
Which is little different. That actually I've lost and I've come back defeated.
Yeah, I'm. It's not that I'm running away with my tail. I'm just going back, and they'll come back tomorrow. Something like that is probably cause a degree of uncertainty, and it also affects. But anyway, General Saab, it was wonderful talking to you.
Douglas MacArthur.
Well, a lot of things have happened since then, right?
Make that statement that I shall.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the Iran thing is not over. It is not over this is the second war in the second term of Donald Trump. We had one before, a 12-day war with Israel, and then the US bombed it last summer, and then we are back again at it. So technically this is like a third West versus Iran match that's going on. So anyway, thank you very much, General Saab, and it was wonderful talking to you. And I will try to make sure that I send the link of this video to a lot of people here in the administration that I know of. Anyway, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.